Hello everyone, welcome back to the Java tutorial series. In this video, we will learn about method overriding in Java. It is one of the most important concept in object-oriented programming. So we will understand what method overriding is, why it is used, what are the rules, and we will see different real-world examples. So let's begin. So what is method overriding? So method overriding is a feature. Okay. So what is method overriding? Method overriding is a feature where a child class provide its own implementation of a method that already exists in the parent class. So let's say we have one method inside parent class. Okay, let's say parent name is ABC. Parent method name is ABC. Okay, ABC. Now one child class is there. Okay, child class means this class is inherited from parent. And how what keyword we use for inheritance? Extends, right? Extends parent. So this is child class. Now since this is child class, whatever properties and behavior that is in parent class, that will be automatically accessed by the child class. So let's say ABC is the method in the parent class, so child class can access this ABC method. But here child class wants to change the definition of this method. Child class don't want to use the same method definition what is defined in the parent class. So what child class will do? Child class will redefine this method in the child class. Redefine this method. So child class is not using the parent class definition for this method ABC. Okay, child class is providing its own implementation, own definition for this method. So method name will be same. See, here also ABC, here also ABC, but the method definition, what statements, what is inside the method, that is different in child class. Child class is providing its own definition, own implementation. Okay, so let me quickly revise. So we have one parent class and we have one method called ABC in the parent class. Now child class extends parent class. That means this child class is inherited from parent class. So whatever method parent class is having, that method can be accessed by the child class. But child class don't want to use the same implementation of ABC class, ABC method of parent class. Instead, child class wants to provide its own implementation for ABC method. So child class is redefining ABC method and giving its own implementation. So same method name but different implementation. Okay. So what do we call this feature? We call it as method overriding. Now here it is written, method overriding is a feature where a child class provides its own implementation of a method. Okay, child class is providing own implementation of a method already exists in the parent class. ABC already exists in the parent class and child class is providing its own implementation for the same method ABC. So this overriding of the same method which is present in parent class in this. Okay, so this concept we call it as method overriding. So child class is overriding ABC method. So we call this method as overriding method. Okay, so there are some rules which we need to follow while overriding. Okay, so some rules are, See here what it is written, same method name. Method name should be same. Like here we have in this example ABC in the parent class, and in the child class method name is ABC. So method name should be same. Now second condition, second rule is parameter. So whatever in this example we have not taken, but parameter, number of parameters should be same. If here we are having two parameters, so while redefining inside the child class, parameters should also be same. Okay. And okay, I hope you remember of signature. In the method overloading video, I have explained what signature means. Signature means the number of parameters. Okay, number of parameters. If here we are having two parameters, then here also we need to have two parameters. And signature means data type. Which data type we are using inside method of the parent class. Let's say we are using int. Then in the child class, while redefining or overriding the same method ABC, we have to use data type as int, not return type. Okay, return type I will explain you. Where do we write return type? Before method name. And where do we write data type for the parameter? Inside bracket. So I am talking about data type which is present inside the bracket. Okay, so let's say int a, it can be like that, int a. So in here also we need to provide int a. Okay, so int will be same for both. That means data type should be same. So this we call it a signature, or it can be both, number of parameters or data type. So this we call as signature. So in case of method overloading, we studied signature should be different. Method name should be same, but signature should be different. But in case of method overriding, method name should be same. Okay, that is same only, similar to overloading. But in method overriding, signature should be same, not different. So whatever number of parameters, whatever data type we are using for parameter, same we have to use in the overriding method present in the child class. Okay, so this is the rule for method name and parameters. Now we will move to return type. Where do we write return type? In front of method name. Let's say here we have double. That is return type. So inside method we will be writing, we will be putting some logic and we will be returning some double value, let's say 1.2, like that. Okay, so double is what? Return type of the ABC method present in parent class. So here it is written same return type. So same means here also we need to use double return type. So this method will also return some double value, 3.4, 4.3, whatever. Okay, now there is written one more point, covariant return type. What is covariant? So covariant means it can be, return type can be same or one size lower. Okay, I will write here. Covariant means what? Same or one size lower return type. So same we have seen, right? If you are using double, that means in the child class also we need to use double. What does it mean? Or one size lower. So we all know, right? Data type, double, int, all have different sizes, right? Int, float, double, char. So these are what? Different data types. Now we are using this double. So what will be the lower size of double? Okay, not one size lower. You can write like lower size. Okay, lower size than the current one. So whatever size is lower than double, we can use it in the child class. So let's say if it is double, okay, so I can use here int size is smaller than double, so I can use both double or int. Why? So same we can use anyway, same we can use, and also I can use one size or size lower than the present in the parent class method double in this example. So in this example I can use two return type double, that is same, and lower size, that is int. So this is covariant return type. So if a child class needs different behavior for the same method, it can redefine in the child class. This is called method overriding. So the child class replaces the parent's implementation with its own. So this concept is the foundation of runtime polymorphism. So in the upcoming video you will see this concept is used in runtime polymorphism. So for now, just focus on method overriding. So we'll have some examples, okay, so that we will understand better. So let's say every employee, okay, every employee receives a salary, but the salary calculation differs for full-time employee, part-time employee. Here you can see, right, full-time employee and part-time employee. Every employee will get salary, but the calculation of salary will be different. Okay, logic will be different for full-time employee and part-time employee. Similarly, every payment completes a transaction. Okay, every payment will complete one transaction, but methods will be different. What methods? Payment methods will be different through UPI, okay, through credit card or through net banking. Okay, so every method will work differently. Okay, but it will complete transaction. Similarly, every notification is sent. We will send every notification. Okay, we'll send every notification, but sending an email, SMS, or push notification, okay, it will use different implementation or definition. Okay, so let's go to IntelliJ and see some examples, so we'll have better clarity code wise. Okay, so what we are learning, method overriding. So let's say I will create one class called employee. Okay, employee. So this is employee class, and in this class I will create one method. What method? Calculate salary. See, I'm following here camel case convention. So while writing method, we need to take care of these things. And in this method, I'm just printing. I'm doing nothing more. Well, what I will write, calculate employee salary. Okay, employee salary. That's it. So here we have the parent class employee. Okay, I'm defining parent class. It contains a method calculate salary. So this is the general implementation that every employee inherits. Okay. Now let's say I will create one child class. What will be that child class? Let's say I will give full-time employee. Okay. So we should give the meaningful names so that if we are writing the code, if anyone is new and looking at your code, so he or she should understand what you have written. Okay, so full-time employee is what? Child class. So we have to use here what? Which keyword for inheritance? Extends parent class. What is the name of parent class? Employee. Okay, so now I will write. See, parent class have method, employee class have which method? Calculate salary. Okay, but child class, that is full-time employee, don't want to use this implementation. Child class full-time employee want to provide its own definition for the calculate salary method. So what child class will do? It will override this method and provide its own implementation. So let's go and override this method. Okay, so what is the method name? Calculate salary. So child class is redefining that method. Why redefining? Because child class wants to provide its own implementation. So let's say it is printing calculating monthly salary. So in the parent class, what we have written, calculate employee salary, and here monthly salary, full-time employee. Okay, so in the real project, instead of this print statement, we will be having the logic and the code. But for now, we are understanding the concepts. I'm just writing the print statement. Okay, it can be like a number of lines in between. For understanding, I'm taking print statement. So calculate salary, there is different print statement here, and here it is different. Here I added monthly salary, and in parent class, it is just written calculate employee salary. Here it is not mentioned specific that whether it is full-time or part-time. But in child class, we are specifying that for full-time, give monthly salary. So the full-time employee class extends employee, that is parent class, and it overrides calculate salary. Okay, because full-time employees have different salary calculation. Okay, now you can notice that the method name are same and parameters are exactly the same. See, in the parent class, method name is same, calculate salary. Here also calculate salary. But and parameter, how many number of parameters are there in the parent class? 0. So same in the child class we are following 0 parameters. Okay, signature, parameter, data type, or both. So we are following signature and method name. Okay, and return type, what is the return type? Void. It is not returning anything, void. So return type should be covariant, same or one size lower. So we are, in this case, we are writing same. Okay, now I will go to main method. Okay, here what I will do, I will create an object of child class. Employee equals to new full-time employee. Okay, so full-time employee is what? Child class. And what is employee? Employee is the reference of object reference of this object. It is a reference variable of this child class object. Now with this reference, I will call the method of child class, calculate salary. Okay, since this reference is pointing to child class object, it will execute child class method calculate salary. So what is their monthly salary? So if I run this program, what will be the output? See, calculating monthly salary. Okay, so child class has overriding the existing method of parent class. Okay, So by name it is clear. We are overriding the method. That means we are not gonna use this method. We will override this method and provide our own implementation. So that's what overriding. Okay. So in the main class, when I created child class object using new keyword, so that child class object reference is calling the method calculate salary. Okay. So since it is referring to child class object, this method will be called of child class. Okay. And let's say if the object is of parent class, then since this, okay, what happened? Employee I need to write, right? I made a mistake. Okay, what it is telling. Okay, here also I need to change. Now let's say I created an object of parent class. I'm not involving child class itself anywhere. So parent class method will get called. So let's verify it. See, now it is not showing monthly salary. Okay. So I will revert. Since we are learning overriding, so child class method has overridden the parent class method and we are calling child class method. So it is showing what? Monthly salary. That is the implementation or definition of the child class method. So when we create a full-time employee object and call the calculate salary, Java executes the overridden method inside the child class instead of the parent class. Now let's take one more example. This time I will create class called payment. Okay, so this payment is nothing to do with employees. Okay, employee example is completed. Now I'm explaining the payment. So let's say payment is what? Parent class. And inside parent class, I am defining one method called pay. Okay. So payment means what? One transaction will be happening. Okay, so I have defined one method. Inside this, I will write processing payment. Okay. So what it is doing, it is processing payment. This is parent class. Now let's say we will create one child class. So nowadays we use mostly UPI payment. See, well, creating class also I am following naming convention. What is Pascal? First word, first letter will be capital. Second word, first letter will be capital. Okay. That means it will be like not like camel case. First letter will be capital for class. So UPI payment. So this is what child class of which parent? So extends. What is the parent name? Payment. So UPI payment is child class of payment. Now, what is the method which is defined in payment class? Pay. You'll define pay method, right? Now UPI payment, which is child class of this class payment, don't want to use this implementation. Instead, UPI payment wants to provide its own implementation because it is payment is happening by UPI. So there will be some different logic. This logic can't be used. So what this child class will do, UPI payment it will override this pay method and it will give its own implementation for UPI. So in child class UPI, we will override the parent class method. Why we are overriding? Because UPI payment needs different logic for transaction. So let's say here let's say what I will write. Okay, payment successful using UPI. Simple. Okay. So this is the same method name. You can see here also. Okay, payment. Method name should be same and signature should be same. So method name is pay here. In UPI also method name is same. And what about signature? Number of parameters. See, we have not provided any parameter. 0 parameter. So in child class also 0 parameter. What is the return type here? Void. So return type should be covariant. That means same or one size lower. So it is same. So it is following all rules of overriding. And only difference will be implementation, definition. Okay. Now, if I go to main method and okay, I will delete these things since it is done. So I will create an object of child class that is UPI payment. Okay, and equals to new UPI. So I'm creating an object of child class UPI payment and I am calling pay method. So it will call the overriding method. So what it will print? Payment successful using UPI. Why? Because we have overridden that method. Let's verify it. See, payment successful using UPI. So that is the advantage of overriding. If we would have not done this, if we would not have overridden this method, okay, let me comment this one. Suppose we don't have this method. Child class is not overriding the parent class method. Then what will happen? So child class will access the same method which is defined in the parent class, which is processing payment. Let's verify. See, we have created child class object and we are trying to execute this method. Since child class don't have this method, it is inheriting this method from parent class and printing processing payment, which is defined in the parent class. But child class don't want this. Child class wants its own implementation. So what it will do, it will override this method with following all rules and provide its own implementation like that. Now if we run, we will get the overridden method, that overriding method output. Okay, so that is the advantage of method overriding. If child class wants to give its own implementation, instead of using parent class method, it can give and we can see the output here. Okay, so let me give one more final example so that we will have like full clarity on this method overriding. Let's say we have class notification. This is what parent class. So let me define one method void send notification. Okay, send notification, and here I will print what sending notification. Okay, now this is parent class having one method. That's it. Now I will define one child class. Let's say email notification. So this is simple class. Still we cannot say that it is child class. When we will say this is child class, when we use extends keyword and the parent class name. What is the parent class name? Notification. So now email notification became the child class of notification. Okay, now I will go to main method. Okay, I will delete this one. Since we created one child class, right, email notification, I will create an object of child class that is email notification, and here I will write notification equals to new email notification. Okay, we are using new keyword for object creation of child class that is email notification. Now we have the object we will call the method notification dot send notification. So if you observe, parent class have one method send notification, and we have created one child class, but we have not defined anything. And we know the concept of inheritance, that whatever properties and behavior defined in the parent class, that will be accessed by the child class. Since we have created an object of child class and we are calling this method, so since this child class don't have this method, it will inherit this method from the parent class, that is notification, and this method will get called. Okay, I will repeat. So we have parent class, one method is defined. We have one child class, we don't have that method, which we are calling, we don't have that method. So by definition of interface inheritance, we know that whatever properties and behavior means method. So whatever properties and behavior that is defined inside the parent class, that is automatically available and can be accessed by the child class. So here I have created child class object and I'm calling the method send notification. So since email notification, that is child class, is not having that method, so it will inherit that method from parent class. That is the advantages of inheritance. Even if you don't have the method, you can access the parent class method. As simple as that. So what will be the output? Let's see. Sending notification. So since child class don't have method, it is inheriting from parent class and printing the sending notification. But now the requirement changes. Now child class wants to print something else. Child class don't want to print this thing. Okay. Now what child class will do? Child class want to change this implementation. So it will override this method in the child class and it will give its own implementation. So in the child class, void, what was the method name? Send notification. So same method name. Okay, we need to follow our method overriding rules, what we have learned. Signature is same. No zero parameter, okay. But implementation will be different. So here I will write sending. Oops, what happened? So here I will write sending email notification. Okay. So in the parent class we have written generic sending notification, but in child class we are using email notification. So we have overriding the method that is present in the parent class. So this concept is known as method overriding. So by name also it is clear, method overriding. That means method is already available in the parent class, but we are overriding means we are providing our own definition, own implementation. Now if we try to call this method using child class object, so it will call the overriding method of child class. Let's verify. See, sending email notification. Okay. In the child class we defined just now. So every notification is sent to a user, but sending an email is different from sending an SMS or push notification, right? So each child class, what do we understand? Each child class can override the same method which is present in parent class with its own behavior. Okay. So child class can override parent class method by providing its own implementation. Now let's see the rules of method overriding. Okay. So what are the rules of method overriding? Same method name. Okay, and second point we have learned signature. Signature. Why do we call signature instead of learning parameters and data type? Because signature consists, if I am saying signature, that means it will cover number of parameters. Okay, data type. Okay, in the same method I'm talking, or it can be both. Okay, both means what? Number of parameter as well as data type. So instead of saying this thing, we can directly say by signature. That's why we are using signature. So method name should be same and signature should be same. Okay, that means same parameter, same data type. If it is having both, then both should be same. Now return type. Return type can be covariant. Covariant means what? It can be same or one size lower. Okay, in the parent class, if the return type is double, then in the child, let's say here in parent class, if return type is double, then in child class, what return type we can use? It can be covariant. Covariant means same. It can be same or one size lower. So we have two options. So if we are overriding the method in the child class, okay, so we can use the return type double and int if we are having double as return type in the parent class method. So that's what covariant is. Now child class must inherit from parent class. Okay, so we have seen child and parent. It should be child and parent. Cannot reduce access level. What does it mean? So we have learned the concept of access modifier. I hope you remember the concept of access modifier. Okay, so what was the concept of access modifier? As we know, like, what is the widest scope? Public. These are access modifier, right? And what is the minimum scope? Private. We have seen private means within class. Whatever we are defining as private as a scope, then it will be within the class. And for public, it can be anywhere in the. Okay. Now we have other two also. What are they? Default. If you are not providing any access modifier explicitly, then it will be default. Default means within the package. What will be the accessibility within the package? Okay. And one more was there, protected. Protected means it will be acting as a default. Okay, that means within the package we can access anywhere. Plus one more pointer, that is in child class. It should be in child class. It can be accessed in child class. So protected member means it will act as a default. That means within the package we can access anywhere. On top of this, inside child class also we can access the protected member. Okay, we have learned these things with examples also. So let's say I define protected. Okay, protected inside any class. Okay, let's say class whatever xyz. Okay, random class protected int x equal to 10. Okay, I defined this only, protected. Now let's say class abc, and this is outside package. This is some other package. Let's say org.learn. This is org. Let's say abc. This is different package. But class abc is a child class of what? What is the parent name? Okay, xyz. And inside this child class, I can directly access this x value. I can print x. This will give output 10. That means we can use the protected member outside the package within the child classes only. So these are the some of the rules. So here it is saying in the case of method overriding, okay, let's say we have parent class and we have defined a method, let's say what cannot reduce access level. So let's say protected what int x equal to 10. Now one other class is there, class child and extends parent. Okay, now inside child class I can access this one, right? Print x equal to 10. Sorry, x equal to 10 I can access. But let's say I want to override these things. This see, this is what in the class, what do we have? Properties and behavior. That means properties and methods. So this is like property. We can have method also, protected and the return type, and let's say any method name xyz. This is method. So let's take example of method. Okay, so protected int, and this is method name, and this is implementation inside. So since it is protected and the return type and the method name, so in the child class, what are the remaining rules? Return type can be covariant, so I will take same. Method name should be same. Signature should be same. 0 parameter. Okay, 0 parameter. So we have defined as per the method overriding rules the return type, method name, and the signature. That is parameter data type. Now, what is the rule of access modifier? Since we are using in the parent class protected, what access modifier can I use in the child class while overriding? So the rule is it can be same. The access modifier can be same or it can be wider. Okay, let me write. So what is the rule for access modifier? Access modifier, it can be same or wider. What does it mean it can be same or wider? So we know the scope, right? So what is the minimum scope? Private. What is the maximum scope? What is the maximum scope? Default. Okay, private means within the class, default means within the package. Now which one is the widest package than default? Protected. And which is the widest? Public can be accessed from anywhere. So this is the widest. So this is the sequence. Okay, private is the shortest, then default within package, protected within child class, public anywhere. So this is the increasing widest, okay, scope. So private can be accessed within the class minimum scope, default within the package, protected within the child classes, public everywhere, widest scope. Now tell me, as per the rule, while overriding the method, access modifier can be same or wider. So what we have defined in the parent class? Protected. So currently it is protected. So as per the rule, it can be same or wider. That means we can use protected or wider means public. So these two options we have while overriding the method in the child class. So here I can use either protected as an access modifier or I can use public. Both options I have. So in other words, we can say cannot reduce access modifier level. See, protected, we are not going less. Okay, that's what it is telling. Cannot reduce the access level. So access level will be wider only. So in this case, we have used protected. Let's say if we have used private, then what access modifier we can use? We can use 3 options: default, protected, or public, anything. Plus 4 options, same also we can use, right? It can be same or wider. Remember this rule. Access modifier. Access modifier, okay. Now, what is the next rule? Static methods cannot be overridden. Okay. Static methods cannot be overridden. Why? Because static members belongs to class. So let's say I have one class XYZ and I have static member, let's say static int ABC. This is method. So during class loading time, okay, static will get load in the memory only once. Okay, static will load in the memory only once. Let's say ABC, it is loaded in the memory only once. Now whatever number of object we create from this class, okay, whatever number of object we create from this class, okay, like new XYZ, so whatever number of times, okay, we create the object of this class, but this member which we declared static will get loaded in the memory only once, because it is associated with the class, not with the object. Since class loads only once, because that's why this static member will also load once, because static member belongs to class. Since class is loading one time, these static members will also load once in the memory. It is nothing to do with the number of objects we are creating. It does not belong to object, it belongs to class. And as we all know, in the method area memory, dot class file get loads. Okay, so during that, dot class file will get load once and static member will also get load once. That's why static method cannot be overridden. So in the parent class, if we have this static method, so we cannot override this method. This is an important point. So we cannot use static. Why? Because static members are associated with class, not with objects. And this concept, method overriding, is related with objects. Why objects? Why objects? Because the type of object, based on type of object, the method will get called. So here you can see I have created the child class object. This is child class email notification. So this send notification method will get called of this object. If I change this object here, so this method will get called, send notification will get called of that class. So say I will show you. See, if I run this, it is showing sending email notification. That means send notification method of email notification class. Why? Because notification is a reference variable and it is referring to this object. So this object belongs to which class? Email notification. So email notification class send notification method will get called. Let's verify email notification, send notification. See, sending email notification in the output. Now if I change the object, let's say instead of email notification I will use here what? Notification. Okay, now I change the object. Previously it was different object, now it is different object. And now I am calling, see, reference variable is same, right? So reference variable is referring to now which class? Notification. So this is creating an object using new keyword. Now send notification method of this class will get called. So let's verify it. See, sending notification. So send notification method of this class notification. Let's verify. See here, sending notification. So conclusion is on what type of object this reference variable is referring to. So for that class object, this method will get called. So this is the concept of method overriding. Okay. Since we have overriding the method in the parent class, child class. So here if you are using parent class, then parent class method will get called. Here if you are using child class, then child class method will be called. As simple as that. That means this concept method overriding is somewhat related with the objects. See, new notification. So that's what I was telling here. The method overriding concept is related to objects, whereas static members are associated with class, because during class loading time, this static member loads once in the memory. It is nothing to do with, nothing relation with object. Okay, that's why they have written static methods cannot be overridden. And similarly, final methods cannot be overridden and private methods cannot be overridden. Okay, why private methods cannot be overridden? Because the scope of private is within the class. If we go for overriding the method, that means it will use child class, but the scope is only private. That's why private methods cannot be overridden. And final methods, final keyword is used in Java so that we cannot modify it further. So if you are using in any method final keyword, let's say here if I use final keyword, then this method can't be overridden. So you can remember like this, okay, PSF. If you are using this keyword, what? Private, P for private, S for static, F for final. If we are using any of these P or S or F or any one of these, then that method can't be overridden. We cannot override this method. In any of the method, we are using either private, either static, either final. Okay, you remember like this. If any of the keyword is used in the method of parent class, we cannot override this method in the child class. And reason we know, static is belong to class, not with objects. That's why. Final means we cannot modify the methods. Private means the scope of method is private and we cannot redefine in the child class since scope is within the class that is private. So let's move on. So these are the access modifier rules. So I already explained you, I will revisit just. So I have given you the widest, right? What is the minimum scope? Private. Then what is the wider than private? Default. Then private wider than default, that is protected. Then widest public. So what widest I am telling is scope. Scope means if we are defining any data member, property or behavior as private, that means that property and behavior can be accessed within the class. And for default, if we are defining default, if we are not defining any access modifier, then it will treat as default. There is no such default keyword. So if you are not defining private, protected, or public, it will be treated as default. And the rule for default is, if your property and behaviors are default, that means within the same package, we can access those members within the same package. And protected means whatever member we have defined as protected, so those members can be accessed within the subclass or child class. And public means that member, it can be data member, property, and behavior, can be accessed anywhere. So this is widest scope, widest. And this is what minimum scope. And what is the rule for overriding? Overriding rule is it can be same or wider. So let's say if we are using, so don't forget this rule, same or wider. Okay. What access modifier? Access modifier in the overriding method, it can be same or wider. So where do overriding method belongs? In the child class. So let's say if we have public access modifier in the parent class, then what is the rule? Access modifier can be same or wider. Now tell me what I can use as access modifier in the overriding method in the child class. It can be same or wider. So same means public. Wider means, yeah, it is the widest. We don't have more wider than public. So we can use only one option, public. So that is allowed. Now let's say I am using access modifier in the parent method as protected. So what is the rule? Same or wider? So protected means, okay, I can use protected. That is same. And what is the wider than protected? That is public. So if we have protected as data member access modifier in the parent class, then overriding method I can use public also. That means for protected, I can use this both protected as well as public. That means same, that is protected, and wider, that is public for protected. And for default, I can use default. Okay. I can use for default, I can use protected and public. And for public, I can't use protected. Why? Because public is the widest and I am using the lower scope. That is not allowed. What is the rule? Same or wider. So same means public I can use, but not lower than that. So this is also not allowed. This is also not allowed. And protected, I can use same or wider. That means protected or public, but not lower than that. So this is also not allowed. Okay, this is like famous rule, and these are like mainly asked in the interview questions. And while overriding, writing the code, we need to take care of these rules. Okay. So the child class can maintain the same access modifier or make it more accessible. That means the child class method can use access modifier as same or wider than parent class access modifier. Okay. Let's move. So we will see the @override annotation. What does it mean? That means annotation means, what do you mean by annotation? Annotation is a metadata. Okay, metadata means information for the compiler. So we have compiler, right? Compiler. So annotation means if you are writing something, this is called, this thing we call annotation. Okay, if you are writing something and some keyword, that is annotation. What does it mean if we write this thing? That means we are giving some metadata to the compiler. What do we mean by metadata? Some information, some additional information we are giving to compiler. So let's say here we are overriding the method in the child class. So this method is already in the parent class. Now I am overriding this method in the child class. So I am using this annotation at the rate overriding. What it will do? This will give some information to the compiler. What information it will give? So this annotation will tell the compiler that this method is already defined in the parent class. Now child class is overriding this method in the child class and it's providing its own implementation. So as we already know, we have set of rules that need to follow while overriding the method. So if we are giving this thing, we are telling these things to compiler, so compiler will check during compile time whether we are following the overriding rules or not. If we are not following overriding rules, so during compile time only, compiler will tell, okay, here it is error, here it is error. So during compile time only, we will know that we are missing some rule. So this is not a mandatory thing that we have to use this annotation while overriding the method. This is not mandatory, but this is recommended. Recommended means if we use, then during compile time only we can arrive at whatever errors or rules we are not following. Okay, so why use at the rate override means improves readability. So by looking at this method, we can see, oh, this method is overridden. And during compile time only, we will come to know that we are following rules or not. It will prevent accidental mistakes, maintenance easier. So this annotation is not mandatory. Even if you don't provide this annotation, overriding will work. Okay, but it is recommended. Recommended means we should use. Okay, we should use. Why? Because during compile time only, we will come to know we are following rules of overriding or not. So in the previous example, I was showing you in IntelliJ, I have used, see, this is parent class. Email notification is child class. I am overriding this method, but I have not provided annotation, right? But still it is working. That means the annotation part is not mandatory, but it is recommended. We should use. Why? If we miss any rule, then during compile time only it will tell. Okay, let's say in the parent class, it is zero parameter, right? Signature is 0 parameter. Let's say I will use one parameter here, int a. See, it is throwing error. Method does not override method. It is simply telling like this method is different. It is not overriding. Why? Because it is not following rule. Signature should be different, same. 0 parameter. So during compile time only we are able to know, okay, we are making this mistake. Why? Because we are using this annotation. So this is not mandatory but recommended. Likewise, see in the payment, this is parent class. Now in the child class UPI payment, we are overriding the method, but I have not provided. Why? Just to explain you this concept later, that's why. So this is recommended, so we should use override. See, if we made any mistake, it will directly tell during the compile time. And similarly for employee class, this is parent class and we are overriding in the child class. So here we should use @override. So this is @override annotation. Okay. So it is strongly recommended. If you accidentally misspell the method name or change the parameters, so Java will immediately report an error. So this helps developers to avoid bugs or something, any issues. So early finding is good. Okay. Now let's look at the difference between method overloading and method overriding. Okay, so what is the difference between method overloading and method overriding? So method overloading follows the concept. What is the rule of method overloading? It should be, method should be defined in the same class. So method name should be same and signature should be different. Signature means what? Number of parameters. See here 2 parameter, here 1 parameter, here 2 parameter, here 1 parameter, here 1 parameter. Or data type. See here we are using string, here float, here int. So data types are different, number of parameters are different, or both. Signatures are different, but method names are same. Method name is same. So what are the rules of method overloading? Same method name, but signatures are different. Signature means number of parameter and the data type, or both. So this is the rule of method overloading. What is the rule of method overriding? Method overriding. So in method overloading, we are using same class for defining all these methods. But in method overloading, we will be having parent class, child class concept, inheritance. So we will be having some method in the parent class and we will override the same method in the child class. So same method, let's say xyz we are having in the parent class, same method we will define in the child class, and it should follow some rules. What are those rules? Method name should be same. Signature should be same. What is signature? Same number of parameters, same data type. Okay. And return type? Return type can be covariant, we have seen. Covariant means it can be same or one size lower. And for access modifier, it can be same or wider. So these are the rules for method overriding which we need to follow. And here we use the concept of inheritance. That means whatever method defined in the parent class, we will override this method into the child class by following set of rules. Now next question comes, what is the use of this method overloading and method overriding? So we have the concept of polymorphism. Polymorphism means one method with multiple forms or multiple implementation. See here, in the same class we are defining multiple methods. So one method, multiple forms. Here also same method but different implementation, different forms. In the both the cases we are following this rule. That is polymorphism. Polymorphism. In the both the case we are following polymorphism. But both are different. How? During compile time only. In this case, during compile time, we will be knowing which method will be getting called, which method will execute, which method will get called. So during compile time only, we will know which method will get called, this method, or this method. So based on the method call, during compile time, we will know, okay, this method will get called. But whereas in the method overriding, we come to know which method to call. Parent class method will get called or child class method will get called. So this thing we come across during runtime. So method execution, which method to execute, those things we will come to know during runtime. That's why we call it as runtime polymorphism for method overriding and compile time polymorphism for method overloading. So how compile time polymorphism is achieved? Using method overloading. How runtime polymorphism is achieved? Using method overriding. Okay, here are the examples. See, method name same, method name same, signature are different. Okay, here 2 parameter, here 3 parameter, here 2 parameter. Okay, and here we are overriding in the child class. So what are the advantages of using this method overriding? Okay, just I explained you the difference, but we are learning method overriding as part of this video. So it allows child classes to define their own behavior. It supports runtime polymorphism. What supports method overriding? Okay, we are learning method overriding. Okay, so method overriding supports runtime polymorphism. It improves flexibility, encourages code reuse, makes application easier to maintain. Why easier to maintain? Because we are following principles. Follow the open close principles. Okay. So that's all for this video. I hope this tutorial helped you understand the concept of method overriding in Java. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.